I run Bella Books, which is currently an 8-figure business, and I started my business with 10,000 naira only. Those were crazy years, like really crazy years, because I was just winging it. And I recently launched my own journal brand that has brought in 8 figures. My business was in medical school, and I never really had any big goals for it. I actually had times when customers made me almost cry. I didn't quit medical school because I was making money. School is not scam, okay? Don't start an online business in 2024 without watching this video. Hi guys, my name is Bella. I run a successful online bookstore, Bella Books, which is currently an 8-figure business, and I started my business with 10,000 naira only. And I'm going to be sharing with you guys the mistakes I made that cost me money, cost me time, and also made me not to grow as fast as I would have grown. So if you want to start a business in 2024, I'm going to be giving you free lessons on how you can start a successful business in 2024. So let's go into the video. Okay, before I get into the video, I would like to give you like a little background story of how I started my business and where I am at currently, because I'm very sure you'll be asking yourself, okay, what even qualifies her to give me this kind of advice, or why should I listen to her advice, right? So let me give you some of the reasons why you should. I started my online business as a second-year medical student in medical school with 10,000 naira my father borrowed me, and I've built my business from that 10,000 naira to an 8-figure business. I have an online bookstore where I sell books, I sell stationaries, and I recently launched my own journal brand that has brought in 8 figures in the space of 2 years since I launched my journal brand. I started my business in medical school, and I never really had any big goals for it. In fact, if you told me 7 years ago, 8 years ago when I started my business that we'll get to where we are today, I never would have believed it, because I had dreams. I had dreams, but I didn't quite know that I was going to accomplish those dreams, because I had other businesses I wanted to do. And throughout the course of my life, I have run like 7 businesses so far. I've done coconut oil, I've done cake making, I've done makeup artistry, I even sold makeup products, I made beads, and a lot of other businesses I did during the course of my growing up and trying my hands on different things. And finally, Bella Books is like the business that has grown the most and the business I focus on currently while I still practice as a medical doctor. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys like some of the things that helped me grow, how I was able to grow, how I was able to scale my business, how I was able to grow my finances, and also how I was able to gather the kind of community I have currently. So let's move into this video. Are you excited? But before we go into the midst of the videos, this is me reminding you once again to subscribe to my YouTube channel, to like the videos if you got value from it, and to encourage other people to discover my channel and also watch my videos, and also for you to drop a comment, because it encourages me and would help me want to put out more videos. So first of all, before I start my business, one of the things I wish I knew then was that I had a separate entity for my business. I'm going to explain. When I started my business, I merged my business with my personal account, my personal details and everything. I had one phone number that I was using to run my business, and also my personal phone number. I also did not create a different bank account for my business. I didn't have a different email address. I didn't have a different WhatsApp for it. And now my business has grown to the level it is now. Being able to separate these entities has been a very big challenge, because as a business owner, I want my business to be able to run separately on its own without me having to be involved. It has been quite a challenge, because right now the phone number I had used was actually my personal phone number, and being able to start opening a different bank account, I lost some data and a lot of other details I lost, because I wasn't able to from the beginning separate my business from my personal details. So I will advise you, if you want to start a business in 2024, one of the things I will advise you to do is get a different WhatsApp number, get a different phone number, have a different email account for your business, have a different bank account for your business. This will help you have like a separate entity for your business. When you start hiring people, when you begin to delegate work, the business will be able to function seamlessly in your absence without you having to be there. The second thing I'm going to be sharing with you guys, which was something I also did when I started my business, but I also want to buttress on, because a lot of people do not know this, or they are afraid to do this, is you being able to experiment for you to find your niche. Even though ideally I would advise you to be able to get your niche before you start a business, but then again, you can never really know what it's going to be, or you can never really know what you are going to make it in, right? When I started my business, I was doing makeup. First business I started was my bead making business, and I made money at that point, and it was a business that was trending at that point in time, right? From bead making, I moved on to selling books. But when I say selling books, I didn't see it as something I was going to do in the long run, even though I had dreams of, having a bookstore, being able to open like branches in different places. But it was just one of those things where you just write down your goals and aspirations, but you're not sure if they were going to come to pass or not. The actual business I wanted to do was I wanted to be a makeup artist and I wanted to have a makeup studio, which right now I'm so grateful to God that I didn't told that part, because being able to run my business, the current business I run, has been the best thing that happened to me in terms of like my career, in terms of me being able to delegate the job, being able to work in my absence, and so many other things. I would advise anybody who is starting a business in 2024, whatever it is you have in mind, whatever business you want to start, experiment, try the business. If it doesn't work, good and fine, you move on. Like I mentioned earlier, I have done 7 businesses so far, and out of that 7, it was just one that I did for the long term, which is the most successful business I have currently. Experiment, any idea you have, work on it. Example, when I said to start a YouTube channel, I just had the idea, I was thinking about it for so long, and I was like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? Let me open a YouTube channel. If it doesn't work out, good and fine, I move. But right now, because I was able to experiment with makeup, I don't have any regrets of, oh, maybe if I had done makeup, maybe I would have succeeded. Oh, maybe if I had done coconut oil, maybe I would have succeeded, right? So be able to try your hands on different things, but at the end of the day, try your very best to niche down as fast as possible, right? So after I did those businesses for a while, in like the space of 2 years, I was able to niche down and focus on Bella Books, and I gave it a laser focus, which made my business grow very well, made me put in my best, made me learn more about the industry, and also made me grow to the level that we are currently. Talking about finding your niche, when you start your business, try to focus on one thing, and as time goes on, you can begin to build on it, right? So for instance, for my own business, when I started my business, I was selling like fiction, non-fiction, and from selling these genres, I was able to now diversify into selling like African fiction, selling children books, selling Bibles, selling stationaries, and so much more. But imagine if when I started, I wanted to do everything at once. I might not have been able to build easily or as fast as I did, because of the fact that, first of all, limitation with capital, right? I had to start a business with 10,000 naira only. So imagine if I had to split 10,000 naira into buying stationaries, buying Bibles, buying tote bags, buying thrifted books, and so much more. I will not be able to have as much varieties as my customers would actually want to see. Okay, so that leads us to tip number 3. Third tip I'm going to be sharing with you guys. I wish I understood who my ideal customer was, and I wasn't so focused on trying to buy things that I liked, but I was focused on buying things that my customers liked and what they desired. I put in money into some products I bought for my businesses. I lost some money here and there. I wasn't able to scale as much as I wanted to scale, because I bought things because I liked them, not knowing that my ideal customers do not like these things. And right now in my business, I've come to realize what my ideal customers like. I've been able to focus a lot of capital into buying the things that they like and the things that they want to purchase from my brand, and that has made me grow exponentially. Let me give you guys an example. At Bella Books, before I ventured into importing Bibles, I was selling like African fiction and other kind of books, but gradually we start having like demands in like buy Bibles for me. I want to get Bibles. People even begin to send us like the kind of Bibles they wanted, and that made me look into buying Bibles. And right now in my business, I invest the most capital in Bibles, and I do not regret it, because that is like one of the products that always do well. Like, it's a foolproof product. I know that when I buy, it must sell. Like, no matter how expensive it is, it must sell. So when you're able to understand the kind of things your customers want, you begin to focus on buying those kind of things they want against buying the kind of things you want. Example, for someone like me, I actually enjoy reading like foreign fiction, right? I haven't even been a very big fan of African fiction, but I came to realize that my customers love African fiction a lot, and I have put in a lot of money into buying African fiction, and they buy it a lot. It's one of our fastest moving products. Also, because I realized that my ideal customers liked Bibles, I was able to look into diversifying into buying stationaries, annotating tabs, Bible index, pastel highlighters, things that can make their Bible study interesting, prayer journals and stuff like that. And that has also skilled my business so much, because I understood who my ideal customers were, and I was able to know the kind of things they want. When you understand who your ideal customers are, it gives you an idea of the kind of products you can pair easily with what you currently sell, and also be able to diversify your income, right? But don't forget what I said earlier on. Try to build on a particular product or a particular category of products before you think about diversifying into different things. Let me give you guys another example. So for instance, Fine Funky, if you know Fine Funky on Instagram, Fine Funky is someone that is known to sell like correct bags and shoes, right? And recently she has started diversifying into selling clothes. So she has moved from selling bags and shoes to selling clothes, to selling perfumes, because she understood that her ideal customers love to look good. They love to look good without having to spend so much money. And if they could actually buy her bags and shoes, they can buy fashionable clothing that are also affordable. They can be able to buy perfumes, because when you want to buy bags and shoes, you want to also smell nice, right? So this just gives you like an overview of what I mean by understanding who your ideal customers are. If you've watched the video up to this level, don't forget to subscribe. If you are gaining like value from the video you are watching, don't forget to subscribe and drop a like in the the video and also drop a beautiful comment. I would really appreciate that. Let's move on to tip number 4. I wish I understood that I did not need to make a lot of money for me to get help for my business. So let me explain. When I started my business, like I mentioned earlier on, I was in 200 level in medical school, and when I entered 400 level in medical school, my business was doing very well. My business had grown. I was getting a lot of orders. School was stressful, and it was a lot being able to handle the business and handle my academics, right? So those days, I remember I used to struggle a lot. I was juggling academics, juggling deliveries, juggling sourcing books, and so much more. Most times at the end of lectures every single day, or at the end of clinicals, I have to be rushing to the logistics company to be able to send out orders, because I had a lot of orders to send out. After struggling for a very long time, I finally decided to take the leap and make my first hire back in 2020. Yes, I had to take the leap to make my first hire, and you guys, it was one of the best things I ever did, because when I made my first hire, I was able to even have more time. I didn't need to undergo the kind of stress I was undergoing at that point in time, and it was a contract staff, so she just came like I think 3 times a week, and then when she came, she was the one that took the orders, created the orders, carried it to the logistics company, and they sent the packages out. And about 7,000 naira at that point. Well, also bear in mind that 7k is not how much is worth now. It was worth a reasonable amount of money, considering the fact that she only works 3 times a week, and I cover her transport money and her logistics, and I also was the one that was packaging the orders. So what she does is, was when she came, I just give her like the products we need to send out. She takes it to the logistics company, she processes it, and then she sends me the waybill number, and that was how we were able to work. And that saved me a lot of stress, saved me a lot of time, also made life easier for me, and made me to be more effective. Talking about help in your small business, it could be as simple as hiring someone else who can handle your content creation, or someone who can handle responding to DMs. If you juggle like your 9 to 5 and a business and school, or whatever engagement you do, right? So being able to get someone that can respond to your DMs promptly will save you time, energy, and make you money faster. Unlike you having to go to work, come back from work, and then you have to respond to all the DMs yourself. You have to package the orders yourself. You have to send them out at the end of the day. If you're not careful, you end up being very resentful about your business. So you can begin to look for help here and there. You can start by looking for contract staff who do not have to work every day of the week. You could start as little as 2 times a week, 3 times a week, and as you grow, you keep increasing their salary. For instance, my first content creator, I paid him 20,000 naira monthly. We moved from 6,000 naira monthly to him earning like 6 figures every month in my business. So imagine if I was looking to get to the point where I would be able to afford to pay him 6 figures, I never would have gotten the help I got from him, right? I talk about not having to spend so much money. You can start with people who are still trying to learn, the skill, who are looking to practice the skill that they have. You can begin to work with interns. I always advise, if you're working with interns, that you should pay them, right? No matter the amount of money you can be able to afford, you pay them, and as the business grows, you also tell them that their salary will begin to keep on increasing as they work with you. And it will give you time as a business owner for you to focus on the core areas of your business that will make you money, such as making more research in your business industry, being able to source and procure quality items, being able to come up with good products if you are into the production industry, and also being able to come up with stellar marketing and sales strategy for your business. Moving on to tip number 5, I think you do not need to quit your job or quit your academics for you to run a successful business. Even though I didn't quite experience this, because I didn't quit my job, I didn't quit school, I didn't quit medical school because I was making money, and currently I still have a 9 to 5. I work as a medical doctor, and I haven't quit working as a medical doctor to focus on my business alone. People have had to quit their job to focus on their business. I'm not saying you will not eventually need to quit your job if you want to. Of course, the business can go to the level where you feel like I want to focus on this thing full time and work on this thing. But if you are currently in school, please focus on your academics so that you can pass your exams, get your certification, because it matters. School is not scam. Okay, so it's very, very important. And if you're not at the level in your business where your business can comfortably afford to pay you your salary at your 9 to 5 to be able to make you afford your basic life expenses, please do not quit your job. Please, I'm begging you, because business can be very dicey. Some months you make a lot of money, some months you might not make as much money, some months you might not even make any money at all, depending on the kind of business you run. So until your business is at a point where it is stable, right, even on your bad months, you can be able to comfortably pay yourself a salary, pay people that are working for you a salary, please do not consider quitting your job. However, you can consider getting help on hiring hands here and there till you get to the point where you can now make the decision of quitting your job. I know people who had quit their job to focus on their businesses, and let's say their business did not strive for too long, especially during the COVID period that a lot of businesses had the business boom at that point in time. And right now, some of them are actually struggling because that was COVID. And during COVID, government released funds was made available. People were at home, people were looking for how to spend their money, looking for what to do. So they were shopping online. And right now, it's no longer that way again. So please make sure you calculate your risk very well so that you don't end up being stranded or end up being resentful because the business is not able to afford to pay you comfortably enough. I also wish that I had built a tougher skin before I started my business. I remember back in the days when I started my businesses, I actually had times when customers made me almost cry because of issues with logistics, because of delays here and there. I had threats from some customers. Some customers insulted me. Some customers made me feel very bad or say things that were just not nice at all. And I wish at that point I realized that social media is a place where anybody can come however they are and express whatever feelings they have, or even come and vent their feelings on you. Right now, I'm a big girl. You can't shake me up anymore. But while I do appreciate my customers giving me feedback and also making me realize that the services we are offering was not up to par or what they expected, people still need to realize that they can communicate in a very nice way, or rather in a polite way. You don't have to, you don't have to insult somebody. You don't have to downgrade somebody for you to pass a message, right? So I wish I understood that social media was a social media space and I could not control how people feel. I do not have control over the circumstances behind their life. I don't have control over the logistics company or what they decide to do or when they decide to send out orders. And if there's a delay, there are certain things that are also not within my own powers. While we take responsibilities for the issues that we have or for the delays that customers might experience or for mistakes that could be made from our own end, we also do not allow it to affect us so much. And I have brought up my staff in that manner, right? And make them realize that people might have different things they are facing. They probably do not mean to speak to you this way. So while you try to communicate with them nicely, just realize that some people, just like maybe we have abusive people on earth, right? People have abusive partners, but that doesn't mean that all partners are abusive. That will give you a lot of self-control and help you be able to navigate circumstances and difficult circumstances that can come up in your business. This should be tip number 7, which I understood that I could have strived more for a work-life balance, especially in the beginning years of my business, right? I was in medical school then, and most times if I was not doing medicine, I was focused on my business, focused on marketing, focused on creating content, focused on knowing what next to stock, focused on researching and so much more. Even though as time went on, I started integrating more balance into my life. Especially when I entered clinical school, I started going for parties, going for events, going for conferences, spending time with my friends. But I realized that actually, looking back, my friends always used to complain about me not being available and stuff like that. And even thinking back, I don't know what I could have done better, because we were in school, right? So when we were not in school, we were not having lectures, we were not having exams, we were not having clinicals or having rotations, I had to focus in my energy into my business to be able to make money, be able to create content and do so much of these activities. A lot of my friends are not really doing business, so they were not really able to understand how much I had to juggle, right? Even till now, well, I think now my friends kind of have understood the level my business is at, and they've come to understand that I must really be busy. It's not like I'm just trying to ignore you or stuff like that, but it's still not easy. It's always a struggle, right? Especially when you're operating like a business that is at the scale my business is at, and then when you also have like a 9 to 5, right? So imagine if I didn't have a 9 to 5. So it means that the free time I had after my business, I could have it to do other things. But it is what it is at the end of the day. However, I'm really grateful that when I was in school, I was able to have fun in school. I traveled, I went for parties like I mentioned earlier. I attended occasions, conferences, and I tried to add a little bit of sunshine to my life and not make my life all about my business or my academics alone. So I would advise you, if you are running a business in 2024, remember that you are still a young person, or remember that you are still a woman, regardless of the age you are. Make out time for your family, right? Funny enough, I always have time for my family. I always make out time to attend important occasions, important things that are happening in my family, and that makes me, I currently feel like I have a very holistic life. I don't think I miss out on any milestone I should have been there for, especially for my families and my friends. I try as much as possible for me to show up, and if I can't show up, I try to ensure that my presence is felt, right? So ensure that you don't have your life revolving around your business alone, that you do not have time to focus on other things, because life is actually more than money alone. Tip number 8 is going to be that I actually wish that when I started my business, I saved my customers' data. You guys, I did not have any information saved. I didn't save my customers' phone numbers. I didn't save their data. I didn't save their email address. I had nothing. In fact, I didn't have any of my customers' data until last year, January. Prior to last year, I had run my business for, I think, 7 years. When I became focused on Bella Books, would be like, let's say last year, maybe like 4 years. Yeah, last year, maybe like 4 years, I had run my business. So imagine me running my business for 6 years and I did not have any data saved. I did not have any information saved. I didn't have their email saved. I didn't even have a data of the kind of products my customers were buying. I didn't even know my bestsellers was like, it was crazy. Please don't do this. There are a lot of applications right now that are free. A bumper, I know there is QuickBooks. There's even an Excel sheet, right? So you can even have it on Excel sheet. When your customers reach out to buy from you on your Instagram DM, your WhatsApp DM, you can have a sheet where you put their phone numbers, their name, their email address, so that when you eventually decide to start email marketing, send and start SMS marketing, you can be able to have the information of those who currently purchase from your brand. Because I was not able to save this data, I wasn't able to really give like an accurate business analysis in terms of like, profit and loss statement. Was I even making money? How much money was I making? I didn't track my expenses. I didn't even know how much it cost to run Bella Books per month. You guys, those were crazy years, like really crazy years, because I was just winging it, guys. And I don't know how I was doing it, but God was really gracious to me. But you do not have to wing it, right? It's very important for you to know how much expenses your business accrue every month. You can do that on Excel sheets. You can do that on some accounting softwares that are even free. So it's very, very important that you do that. The next thing I also wish I had known before I started my online business was that having a website was the future. I actually launched my website last year, May. My website is not even my biggest source of income, right? We still make a lot of money from like our Instagram, our other channels, our Instagram DMs, WhatsApp DMs, and so much more. Since we launched our website, we have made 8 figures from my website alone. And being able to have a website, I make money while I sleep. I wake up every morning to different orders on the website. They don't need to communicate with me. I don't need to communicate with them. I don't need to put in any effort into that. They go on the website. Everything we have is there. It's like an automatic business catalog. Anybody that wants to see anything I have in my business will just go there and they can see almost all the products we have. You guys, I can't even be able to count everything we sell off head. So we have a wide variety of products. And having a website also makes my staff to be able to know how much different products cost, so they don't have to call me, hello ma, how much is this, hello ma, how much is this, so they can run the store independently of me, because there's a platform where the prices are already stated and they know how much everything costs. Imagine if I had invested in my website earlier on than last year May, I would have been able to even have my business, my customers data, because in your website you have like your customers data saved on it. And you guys, website is not that expensive, right? When I did, I think I paid for my website in 2022 October, September-ish, and at that point I think I paid like 150k or thereabouts for her to build my website for me, both like paying for the subscription and her own fee. But I think now it's no longer 150k, probably it's like 300k, 350k, but trust me, it is a worthy investment. So I know that Bumper has like a website where you can pay, I think their list plan should be like 70k, 100k, I'm not quite sure, probably I'll put it on the screen when I confirm, and then you can open like a website. People can shop from the website. You don't have to be able to attend to them at every point in time. And again, the website can even work as an inventory manager where you can put in all your inventory. And I think they have options where you can even write people that shop from WhatsApp, people that shop from Instagram, people that even walk into your store. And that way you can even have like a business analysis. You can have like a profit and loss statement. You can also know how much, which product is your bestseller, which one you should invest more money in. For my own business, I have like an office portal. We have an office portal where we pay for subscription every year. We're able to like load all our products there. We create invoices there. The website is synced to the office portal. We register our expenses there. The software is called ERPV. I'll put it on the screen so that you guys can see ERPV. I think I pay like 90 something K for 3 users, 1 user being myself, and that user being my sales rep, and the 3rd user being my website. Just imagine I'm paying 100k for me to have a place where I have all the information of my business saved in. That is that when my products went viral last year December, my website had a lot of influx. We made, you guys, I don't want to call how much we made, but we made a lot of money on our website. Website alone, we made a lot of money. So imagine if I didn't have that website and we went viral, the DMs were full. In fact, our DMs were even glitching. And imagine if people did not have another option where they could have ordered from us. Just the fact that we had our website alone, they're able to now, people that were in the DMs, they were not getting responses, they just went straight to the website and they were able to make their order successfully and move on with their day. So really consider investing in a website. It's going to save you in the long run. Okay, so moving on to the next tip. and have registered for my business and opened a corporate business account and so many other things earlier on. I remember that there were some people that were not able to trust me during my earlier years in business because we were collecting money from my personal account. Even some people that wanted to give us contracts to supply books in large quantity, they were not able to trust us because they couldn't pay the money into a personal bank account. But it's very, very important for you to register your business, at least register your business and have like a corporate bank account. These two things will automatically give you the face of a very serious business owner. And right now, things are even made much easier. There's like Money Point, there's like OPay, there's like VFD, where you can be in the comfort of your room and you can open a business bank account without you having to move around or move out from like where you are, or move to the bank and keep filling a lot of forms here and there and all those things. And it's going to help you to secure some kind of deals. Customers are going to be able to easily trust you to pay money into like a corporate account that bears the business name, as against paying money into a personal account where they are not even sure, is it the staff they are paying, is it the madam they are paying, is it the oga they are paying, or so many other things that can come up. And again, people have been bruised, people have been scammed in the past, so they are usually very careful and they want to make sure they're paying their money to the right place. Moving on to the final tip, I also wish that I had started investing earlier on in paying for courses and paying to learn better. Even though I won't consider myself someone who started investing in those things late, but during my earlier years, at least the first 3 years, I didn't really invest in those things because, well, I wasn't able to afford it. But I don't think that's actually the truth, because as of that time, you could get courses for like even 3K, as low as 3K, you could get for 5K, you could get for 4K, like really good courses, right? But because I just was not used to that, I just felt like, I wasn't really serious at that point in time, and I didn't make that investment, which made me struggle. But when I started investing in courses, I became better. I learned how to create better content by buying like courses on that. I learned how to come up with better marketing strategies. I even learned how to run my Facebook ads on my own. I learned how to set retargeting ads. I understood customer psychology that have helped me make a lot of sales. I know what to say that will make a product sell out. Like, I already know. So being able to understand all these different dynamics came from the fact that I invested in learning. And one particular coach I know I paid for her courses a lot was Trisha Biz. In fact, I know as that in 2020, I actually paid for one of her courses that was actually worth more than my school fees, my yearly school fees, you guys. It's a medical student. And that course ended up paying me like times what? From that course, I was able to, you guys, it's a long story, but anyway, I paid for her course, and that course brought back dividends. Like I did like numbers based on what I learned from her course. You need to invest in knowledge. I remember that when I wanted to structure my business, I had to pay for a course on that that was going to help me to know how to put structure in my business, because I knew I was going to start a 9 to 5, and I wanted to ensure that there was going to be no theft. I wanted to ensure that my customers are going to be able to buy things seamlessly. Things are being done the right way they should be done, right? So invest in courses. Personally, I like to learn from those who have proof, who I know are doing the kind of things they are teaching. So I pay a lot of business owners. If a business owner is teaching on how to run Facebook ads, and I feel like her ads convert more than my own ads convert, trust me, I'm going to pay her to learn from her. Is it up to 1 million? I don't know. But I spent a lot of money on courses, right? So is it worth it? Yes. Will I do it again? Yes. In the spirit of talking about paying to learn what you want to learn, I have to plug, actually, I have a course for like business owners, how to accelerate your business to the next level. I share with you guys all my strategies. If you feel like this video has been very, very useful to you, then trust me, you do not understand how rich that course is. That's like a 7 hours course. I taught every single thing I know about my business, from content creation to social media to sales and marketing to running Instagram ads to your finance to how I won grants in my business and so much more. I shared all my secrets in that course, even down to like my office portal plug, down to my website contact, down to my ads contact, and so much more. One of the courses Accelerate Your Business online course, and I'm going to link it in the description box. If you want to pay for the course, you can just click the link, pay for the course, and then you'll be admitted into the class and you can start taking your trainings. Trust me, so far I've had like over 300 students that have paid for that class, and I have not gotten one bad review. One. Like, I've gotten a lot of amazing reviews for people that took my course, how much it helps them, how rich the course is. Imagine something that is like 7 hours long, and the course is going for like, I think, 25,000 naira for a 7 hours long course. Even your coach will not give you that kind of value for the amount I'm giving it for. Your coach would not give it to you. I even feel like I gave way more value than how much we pay for. But then again, that's how I am. I like when I'm teaching somebody something, they learn and learn it very well. I don't have any need to hoard knowledge. You can't pay me for your knowledge and then I will hoard the knowledge. I just beg it all out to you guys. I show you guys how I was able to build Bella Books from 10,000 naira to an 8-figure business that it is currently. And again, I have to let you guys understand that your location is not what is holding you back. Trust me, I run my business from Abia State. A lot of people assume that my business is based in Lagos. All the opportunities I got them while in Abia State. I've gotten contracts from two different banks in Nigeria. I've gotten contracts from very big NGOs to supply books in thousands of copies. I have stockists across the nation with a very leading company in Nigeria. I have a UK store currently, and I also have a 9-to-5. And when I tell you that these things I'm sharing with you guys work, it works. I wish I knew these things, and if I had known these things when I started my business, I would have been able to scale faster. I wouldn't have wasted money, I wouldn't have wasted time, I wouldn't have wasted energy. Finally, this brings me to the end of this amazing video. If you got value from this video, please don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. It will help people to also discover my channel and also learn and get value as you have also, right? And don't forget to drop a comment if you have anything to add to what I have said, or if you have any contradictory statements to what I have said. Please, I'm open to seeing your comments or reading your views, and I think it's going to benefit people in the long term, right? Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget, if you have like any video ideas you want me to talk about, anything you want to learn from me regarding like, you know, starting your business, don't forget to drop it below, and I will be reading your comments, and I will make videos on those areas or those things that you actually have in mind. Till next time, toodles.